Last year, Dan Day Robinson launched Global Energy, an oil and gas conference that takes place in Geneva. He joins us today to discuss the new energy landscape. Dan, good afternoon.
Thank you, Nicolette.
The landscape, it has changed dramatically in the last 5 or 6 years. Can you summarize a few points?
I can. I mean, we've had a major change over the last decade. At the beginning of the 2000s, we were still talking about peak oil. We had a huge price spike during the 2000s, culminating in 2008. Many people argue, actually, that the financial crisis wasn't a financial crisis at all, but it was an energy crisis. So we've had a lot of changes, and we're no longer talking about peak oil. We're talking about shale oil, shale gas, the US becoming an exporter, all of the issues which surround the development of global markets, China becoming, in perhaps a few years, the world's biggest demander of oil. So that the landscape's changing absolutely hugely, and as a result, markets are very volatile, prices are very volatile, and everybody's wondering why and what next.
Speaking about what next, the spread between the WTI and the Brent has narrowed tremendously.
Sure.
Since the beginning of the year. Can you say a few words about that?
Well, I mean, I think this is to do with this whole sort of expansion of US supply. It's things like the creation of the Seaway pipeline. It's the development of new American refining capacity. The fact that they're able to produce sweet-like crudes which are very similar to Brent. These kinds of factors have resulted in the kind of the changing price dynamic of Brent WTI. And this is being watched every day by traders.
There is a lot of uncertainty around prices. What drives the risk premium?
There are really two factors, Nicolette. There's demand and then there's offer. On the demand side, the OECD countries are no longer the primary drivers of demand. We have a situation where China, for example, is forecast to become the biggest world consumer of oil, and emerging markets themselves will become the drivers of demand for oil. On the offer side, we're looking at the marginal cost of production. So whereas, for example, in a country like Saudi, it's not that expensive per barrel necessarily to bring oil out of the ground and ship it, the marginal cost is probably, for new sources of supply like shale oil, would probably be $60 or $70 a barrel. So clearly this price dynamic, while prices remain very high as they are at the moment relative to historical market prices, while they remain high, the question is how much marginal production will be brought on stream.
Global Energy is in its second year. Who conceived it and why is it in Geneva?
We launched Global Energy because Geneva is one of the world's largest trading hubs. It's the home to many large international oil trading firms, and until Global Energy there was really no international trade show, conference and exhibition for the sector. The people behind Global Energy are the people actually speaking at it. So, for example, this year we have Total, Gunvor, Cargill, the International Energy Agency, all speaking at the event. And they're pretty much the drivers of it. The program has been formulated by traders, not by professional conference producers. And I think that's the reason why it's hopefully going to be a great success again this year.
Dan, thank you very much for coming this afternoon.
Thank you, Nicolette.